Hello and welcome to the latest edition of the Sports Ballers Podcast. I'm Evan Ash, joined as always by Corey Puffin and Eric Meyer. How are y'all doing today?
Not many complaints. Weather's terrible, but whatever. You know,
I'm just glad it's terrible
tomorrow.
now.
I'm excited.
Right?
Yeah, can't wait.
Like, let's, here in the Maryland area, let's get all the rain out of our system so, it'll just stop raining tomorrow.
Here's hoping. I'm doing pretty well. It's today was our last day before spring break, so I get tomorrow through next Friday off, which is nice. I don't even have to take off for opening day. I just get to enjoy it. So I'm excited for that. Had some issues with the stream to start here, but I think that we are up and running. So everybody missed the intro to the show on the live stream, but it'll be there for the recorded version.
Is anybody watching the live stream?
Probably, maybe somebody. we almost always have at least two people tuned in.
At least two.
At least two.
Yeah. We get a lot more people on the recorded version, but we usually get a couple people listening live, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Alrighty.
Yeah.
We will start tonight with the NBA, and I put an NBA topic in here.
You did?
I did.
Wow.
Yeah. So it came out this afternoon that the deal for the Wizards and the Capitals to move to Northern Virginia has fallen through and is no more. So I also added that Glenn Youngkin is cordially invited to go use his imagination.
You almost said Glenn Yuckin, which it would be a pretty I think
appropriate
that also
Freudian
works.
slip.
Yes.
Well, you guys know what I call him regularly, and that would not probably be appropriate for this podcast. So, yeah.
So he can go use his imagination.
Yeah. And you can at home, too, listeners.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. So anyway, college basketball. The NCAA tournaments are going on. I haven't watched any of it.
What?
I watched a little bit.
I've been playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, and I did my taxes on Saturday.
Nice.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
Nice
least
little
watch the
refund because
first
you're a
couple
homeowner now,
rounds.
right?
yeah.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that when I do my
Already
taxes.
spent all the money.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, may as well go ahead.
So something happened. Am I in last place in the bracket thing?
I think you are in the men. You might be the last place in both. I'm not sure.
Well, that sounds
I'm
about
right down there with you, to be fair. And Eric is right down there with us on the men's side. He's like in the middle on the girls' side.
Misery loves company.
But
Women's.
we all have some options to some ability, or at least Eric and I have some ability to move up a little bit in those rankings.
Apparently.
So let's go ahead and do some shout outs here. On the men's side, Peter Gorman leads by 10 points with 530 points. His only major loss so far was Dayton from his Elite Eight, but he got 12 Sweet 16 teams correct, which is pretty awesome. Shannon Cummings is in second, but lost her champion Baylor, so her max points available are not looking great. And Trevor Perkins is in third with 480 points. Out of 29 total entries, the three of us are currently all in the bottom five.
Oh, we're doing great.
Yeah, we're doing great.
we should host
but-
a podcast. We're doing so well.
In terms of max points, Eric and I are tied for 13th. Eric has
Still
only
doing great.
lost Kansas from his Elite Eight, while I only got 8 Sweet 16 teams correct, but none of my Elite Eight teams have been eliminated. So the 8 teams I got right in the Sweet 16 are the 8 that I have going to the Elite Eight, which I don't... How often could that possibly happen?
I don't know.
So on the women's side, we've got a tie for first place after the second round between one of my wife's cousins, CJ Frederick, and somebody named ESPN fan 6566228144. Whoever you are, let us know, or we'll just keep reading out all those numbers.
You're never
on the
going to
show.
hear from that person. That's a bot. One.
They have 570 points. Each got 13 correct Sweet 16 picks, and has only lost OSU from their Elite Eight. Sean Kennedy, friend of the show, is tied for third with Jay Richardson 918, just 20 points out of first. But Sean actually has the highest max total in the entire contest because his Elite Eight is entirely intact. Out of 17 total entries on the women's side, Evan is in last. I am second to last. Eric is 8th place. Eric is 4th in max points. His Elite Eight is intact, and he got 14 Sweet 16 picks right, which is more than anybody else in the contest. So well done, Eric.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I y'all were picking on the show. I was loafing last week, and I ended up doing okay,
Yeah.
I guess.
So my Elite Eight is intact in both contests. I'm one of two people entered who can claim that accomplishment. The other being somebody with the name The Mighty Meesers. Don't know who that person is, but maybe that one's not a bot. So if
That sounds
you
like a
are
person,
listening,
yeah.
you can let us know who you are, and we will give you your due as a shout out next week. But yeah, congratulations to me on that, and congratulations to the Mighty Meesters, and congratulations to all of our actual leaders, the people who are actually getting a lot of games right in these two challenges.
That ain't us.
And us.
Not me. Yeah. So the tournament, or at least the men's tournament, I know that resumes on Thursday.
Yep.
I don't know when the women's tournament
Friday.
picks up again.
So men's
it's just-
tournament is Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Women's is Thursday, Friday, or Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. So it's just
Oh.
offset by a day.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah. I think that when we get to the Final Four, though, I think it might flip, and the women play Friday for the semifinals and Sunday for the championship, whereas men's do Saturday for the semifinals and Monday for the championship. I think that's the case. I'd have to double check though. I don't feel like the women play their championship on Tuesday.
Oh,
I
thought
think
did.
they played on Sunday, but I could be wrong.
Yeah. Alrighty. Over to the National Football League. The NFL has some new rules. So, the first one on here: hip drop and swivel tackles are banned now.
They were very specific. It's not the hip drop tackle that's banned. It's
the hip
when you
drop and
add the
swivel.
swivel to it, which
Yeah.
I don't entirely.
So it's like the third pump. Right? Like, two pumps are okay.
Hip drop and swivel.
Yeah.
It's like stop, drop, and roll.
Keep an eye on that swivel.
Yeah. if you swivel past the line, that's 15, and an automatic first down. My understanding is that if you tackle somebody from behind with both arms, and then the wording they used was unweight yourself, but like if you hold on to the guy you're tackling and your feet aren't on the ground, and you swing your lower body around so that it lands on top of the guy you're tackling, then that would qualify under this penalty. So it doesn't happen very often, right? Like this isn't a frequent issue.
Yeah, it's not a super frequent issue. The replays that I have seen shown most frequently on social media in connection with this, I look at and I don't really see the issue with them. I think the one that I've seen the most was a tackle on which Bengals receiver was
Tyler
it that
Boyd.
they kept showing? Tyler
Yeah.
Boyd. I don't see anything wrong with that tackle in particular. There are probably some others out there that I'd be like, yeah, that was unnecessary. That was excessive. I find it very so difficult because the point of football as a defender is to get the player to the ground. You know, if
Particularly he's resisting you doing this.
yes, if an offensive player jukes and you're slightly out of position, are you supposed to just let them go and not attempt to take them down? No, you're supposed to try and reach out and grab them and take them down. Mm-hmm. And I don't know. I'd have to hear from. I would imagine that not very many current players who have ever employed this would want to talk about this right now while they are still in the midst of their careers. But maybe some former players who have more insight into that situation, if like they actually could have tried to take him down differently or just held the offensive player up until another defender came in to help, rather than using the hip drop and swivel method, whatever. Maybe that is unnecessary and is I don't know, but I just feel like the NFL's rules have already been changed so many times in ways that overwhelmingly benefit offensive players and make defenders' jobs harder to do. And so I hate to see defenders being more and more handicapped in the ways that they can try and play defense and prevent the other team from scoring.
Yeah. I mean, the key point, like you said, is the swivel, right? Like you can hip drop tackle, you can drag somebody down from behind. with your arms around their middle. But like you can't then, as a defender, swing your legs forward so that you land on top of the offensive player's
Right.
legs.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be these type of tackles led to a lot of injuries compared to any other types of tackles. That's why they were addressed. But I think the data showed that this happens like once per game, basically, that somebody commits a tackle
on
like this.
average, yeah.
So it's not like it's going to drastically affect, defenders' methods of doing business. They have to make a slight adjustment. But I do understand that here we go again with another rule that harms the defense, right? It's another way where I can't do something to make a play because clearly it's effective. Like the situations where you saw the videos of it happening, those are pretty much the only realistic way to get that player on the ground.
Yeah.
And if you're saying, hey, you can't do it that way, and if that means that more broken tackles happen and more points are scored and more first downs are picked up, well, then I guess that's the decision the NFL made. But from the perspective of us, the fan, who has watched, for decades now, the league constantly move more towards favoring offense. This is just another one of those. Now, granted, offense last year sucked, but that wasn't so much because the defense was at too much of an advantage. It was just because the quarterbacks were bad. That's probably going to change. What does need to change is the NFL needs to give the defense a chance. And this is, if they're going to do this, there needs to be something else that they can do to offset or limit what the offense does. Because there are plenty of times where the offense are basically allowed to do whatever they want. Like we don't see any emphasis really on pick plays anymore. That's such a big part of what some of the best offenses do is they run those rub routes, and a lot of times they flagrantly violate the rules on them and they get ignored. Or RPOs. How many times have we watched people run RPOs where it's like, hey, the linemen are downfield, but the refs kind of err on the side of the offense on those plays, and I'm just like, you can't give the offense everything every time somebody comes up with something cool. But then whenever you see a little bit of data that suggests that the defense is benefiting from some type of tackle that's maybe causing injuries, you get rid of that. Because we also saw this happen where, remember a couple years ago where they were lowering the helmet was a rule on the offense and the defense? But how often do you see that called on the offensive player today? Never.
Almost never.
But
Yeah.
you see it happen on the defense all the time. And it's like, where's the balance on this? Like, injuries happen to defenders too, and there's nobody looking out for them.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think, this honestly, this is one more thing that the refs have to worry about in game, and they have plenty on their plate already.
Yeah, we've already seen them struggle to get the calls right as the rules existed before.
Yeah.
And now we've got one more to add that's very subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Like, this is a very
Yeah,
subjective rule.
a lot of people have been talking about how it's gonna be really hard to judge in real time. And while the NFL has also expanded some replay rules, so replay can now be used to overturn a ruling that a quarterback was down or out of bounds before throwing a pass. Replay can be used to determine whether the game clock expired before the ball was snapped now. This is not something that appears to fall under that new replay purview. So if they incorrectly assess a penalty for something that appears to be a hip drop tackle, but it was not of the type where they actually swing the legs around and trap the offensive player's legs below the knee or whatever, then they can't undo that call.
Right.
Which on one hand I kind of understand, because you don't want to be reviewing every single penalty and undoing all these penalties, but at the same time, this is a penalty that is going to be very subjective, as Eric just said. So we'll see how it actually plays out.
And let's see, there was something else. New kickoffs in the NFL this year.
Yes. So if you are not familiar with the new kickoff rules as they stand, I would recommend that you pause the podcast right now and go and read the rules, because I'm not going to try and explain them here, because it's a little bit convoluted to explain with words. You kind of need to either read it or you need to see it in practice. And you can go and watch some footage of kickoffs from last year's XFL, because this is the kickoff format that they used in their league last spring. But I think the bottom line for this is just, I'm going to be very fascinated to see how this works out and what the change is going to be to the kicking game. in the return game in particular. Gone are surprise onside kicks. You have to announce if you're going to do an onside kick, and the return team has to be made aware of it by the officiating crew. Touchbacks will bring you to the 30-yard line instead of what has been the 25 in recent years and had previously been the 20. You cannot call for a fair catch in the field of play, which that was a new rule this past year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the kick lands short of the end zone, you have to return it.
Or you can fair catch it and just the offense starts there.
I guess, but I think that
I think
the rule is it has to be returned.
Oh.
It has to be returned. If it bounces into the end zone, then you could go and recover in the end zone and down it there.
Mm-hmm.
But then it's a touchback only to, I think, the 20-yard line.
Okay, so this is definitely not less confusing.
Yeah, that's why I wasn't going to try and list out all of the scenarios, because it is a little bit, it's confusing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm also interested to see just the fact that the coverage team is going to be lined up downfield. The blocking team will be lined up about 10 to 15 yards away from them, but none of them can move until the returner has the ball.
Mm-hmm.
So that means that the blockers can maybe set up their blocks a little more accurately. The coverage team isn't at full speed as they're coming down the field. Is this going to lead to longer kickoffs? We saw that the Pittsburgh Steelers immediately signed Cordero Patterson to a 2-year contract. Now, keep in mind, this is a 1-year rule that can be renewed for 2025, but they may also completely go back to the drawing board. But regardless, the Steelers saw this and they're like, yeah, that makes Cordero Patterson much more valuable. And I think I tend to agree. I think that there's going to be a lot more returns, and I think there's going to be a lot more long returns in the NFL this year because of the way that the return team can set up their blocks.
Yes, I will say the kickoff is one of the most exciting plays in football, just because there's so much build up to it, and everybody's running so fast, and it could be taken to the house at any time. You don't know what's going to happen. So with that being said, kickoffs are also the most dangerous play because everybody's running so fast and running the full length of the field.
And the fact that they will not be
into each other.
Yeah, the fact they won't be able to get to full speed is what they are hoping will allow this play to become more exciting again, while also not as dangerous.
It's like a particle accelerator, It's just.
And you guys know what I'm going to turn my analysis to next, right?
No,
fantasy football.
Of course, yeah.
Oh,
I've got to.
That just fantasy football didn't have anything to do with reality football.
But it kind of does here. So here's what I'm going to be very interested about. So. Certainly, this first part is very specific to our league because some of our defensive scoring settings are based on league averages from the previous year, right? Like the baselines for where you start losing points for your defense giving up points or giving up yards are based on last year's averages. The same thing for our defenses getting points for returns. Last year, we did not get a lot of points for kick returns because there weren't very many kick returns. With the ability to fair catch in the field of play and have the ball start at the 25, more teams employed that option rather than returning the ball. So that led to fewer return yards, which means that our thresholds went down significantly from last year. Mm-hmm. But this new rule could lead to a huge increase in return yards, beyond anything we've seen in recent memory. Mm-hmm. So defenses could be a little more valuable in our scoring setting for fantasy football. The other thing is, if there are longer returns, that means fewer yards available for quarterbacks to throw for running backs to get, for receivers to get. Does that make those players a little bit less valuable? Especially if you have a really good returner.
My only takeaway from this is I watched one, kickoff that existed in the XFL or UFL, whatever it's called nowadays. This looks so stupid.
It does look stupid.
It looks ridiculous. Now, maybe we'll get used to it, and maybe we'll just be like, that'll just look like a normal kickoff in a few years. But
I'm glad that it's a 1-year trial run for now so that we can see if it works and if it's
doing trial runs.
interesting.
This is the National Football League, okay? Make a rule and stick to it. If you don't believe in it, what is this trial run? If you're going to do a trial run, do it in the preseason. What is this? It looked ridiculous. I'm just going to say it looked really, really stupid. And I didn't like it.
Yeah, it looks weird, but I mean,
Maybe we'll end up loving it. I don't know. It's possible. I'm just saying
Honestly,
right now
yeah.
I'm not a fan, but that could change.
I don't understand. Like, I feel like they should just start at the 20. Like, just once we've decided which team gets the ball first, it's like, well, you just start right there.
Well, yeah, but it sounds like Corey said, it seems like the league wants to have their cake and eat it too. They want more encouragement for kickoffs to be returned, but also removing the danger element of, like we talked about, the high speed element of it, which resulted in all those injuries. So I get that, but it's just like at some point you've got to accept, just take the ball at the 20.
Yeah.
Like, just get rid of the kickoff.
Yeah, just say that.
And the fact that you have to announce an onside kick, I think that sucks.
I
hate that.
Yeah, I agree. You can only do an onside kick if you are trailing and if it's the fourth quarter or overtime.
Well, that's the only time you would.
Well, actually, I don't know if you would. Yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Well,
No,
the Patriots tried an
guess you
onside
could
kick
technically
in
try and do it over
Super
time.
Bowl 51 late in the third quarter when they were down 28-9.
Yeah, and I don't think they would be allowed to do that.
Well,
I
they
mean,
didn't
it's
recover it anyway, so
Right.
whatever.
A couple other rule changes as far as playing rules. So you guys know when a coach is allowed to have a third challenge, they have to have been successful on the
first
first
two.
two.
Yes.
Well, now if they're successful on either of the first two, they get a third replay challenge, which
This
I'm
is
fine
thanks
with.
to your Lions, I heard.
Is it?
Yeah.
Like we suggested it?
Dan Campbell, your boy, was
Dan
like,
Campbell.
we gotta.
I mean,
I don't
think it's
mind that
fine.
one. I think it's fine.
You should be able to. If you win a challenge, you keep the challenge. That makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Now, if you win both, do you keep both challenges?
I
Do you
don't.
get
I
four?
don't
so.
think so. I think it's still
Well,
limited to 3.
Hopefully, you would never have to use 4 challenges.
I hope the officiating crew is not that bad and that
would be-
one-sided.
That would be tough.
I mean, if you need 4 challenges, I feel like that officiating crew gets assigned to the worst weather game the next week, right? Like Brad Allen after the Lions Cowboys eligibility
thing, yeah.
Guess who's refereeing the Ravens
Yes, it was
Steelers
that
game?
crew, yeah.
It was 35 and pouring rain
Yes, and the game didn't mean anything.
and meaningless game.
The other rule, which I might need one of you guys to explain to me a little bit because the
Oh,
wording
no.
here is very confusing.
I haven't even
You're
looked
the
at the
wording
sheet.
person.
Yeah.
The offense can now be assessed a penalty for a major foul on a play where the offense throws an interception or loses a fumble, even if the foul took place before the change of possession and the defense also committed a penalty on the play. Could the offense not be charged for a foul in that situation before?
So like if
Well,
the
like
situation,
if somebody throws an interception, but they were also holding on the pass, for example, like I feel like that the holding penalty is usually declined.
well, but like this
but
implies,
declined is different. Decline means that the other team decided to decline it. This is saying
Well, if they accepted the penalty, then they would redo the down further back 10 yards, and the offense keeps the ball.
so. Maybe in this case, they would not like accepting it would not redo the down. It would
Be
say we
10
get an
yards
extra
further.
10 yards plus whatever the return
but
was.
you mentioned the defense committed a penalty in this scenario. So did they commit the penalty on the return or
I'm assuming that that's referring to the defense committing a penalty on the return.
okay? So like a block in the back.
Yes,
But the offense
where the
say-
the defense still took over possession.
So the defense gets the ball, block in the back, hip drop, swivel tackle.
Yeah, they
And-
lose 15 yards, but then the offense is also giving like 10 yards. So like what they
It's,
lose
uh,
5
it's
yards.
not,
I-
so it's
was
not
just-
offsetting
so-
anymore. Like normally
I
that'd be
don't.
offsetting.
That's a great question. I don't know, but this is suggesting that it would not be offsetting because it's saying even if the defense also committed a penalty, the offense can be assessed a penalty. I'll be interested to see if and when this ever comes into play because as it stands right now, I don't
care.
fully understand what this means.
Also,
But
your calendar is not up to date.
no, I just like
not the
I like
right
that picture.
year.
You like Baby Yoda and
I didn't get a new one for this
Mando.
year, but I like
Why
Baby
didn't you
Yoda
get a
and
new
Mando.
calendar?
I like Grogu.
it's Baby Yoda.
I just didn't bother.
Oh,
It's Baby Yoda.
well, they make new ones.
It's Grogu.
He's Baby Yoda.
It's Grogu.
It's always gonna be Baby Yoda. You just have to accept that.
Says the guy who doesn't watch the show.
Exactly. That's my point. He's ubiquitous at this point. He's Baby Yoda. Only
He's not even
nerds call
related
him.
to Yoda,
What?
Care?
as far as we know.
It's not the same creature,
It's the same species.
Yeah, so he's Baby Yoda.
but it's not the same guy.
No,
No.
it's not Yoda. It's Baby Yoda.
No. This guy's 50 years old. Yoda is like 900 years old. This takes place after Yoda died.
He's Baby Yoda.
I guess he could have reincarnated with the Force. I don't know. Why are we talking about Star Wars on a
I'm
sports podcast?
so
I love Star Wars,
confused.
but That's another podcast.
Baby Yoda.
What? Oh, I mean, didn't baby Corey grow up to be grown-up Corey, right? Didn't that happen? So
Yes, but I wasn't baby Corey
Okay,
after
baby
grown-up Corey
Gronk
died.
isn't Gronk as
No.
a kid. That's just baby Gronk.
I thought Baby Yoda was just Yoda as
Baby
a baby.
Gronk isn't related to Gronk.
I know. That's my point. Maybe it was he, and he's still baby Yoda.
Talking about?
So now okay. So
I am looking forward to the Acolyte.
I
I
thought
don't
that
know
was
what that
the,
is.
the same
New Star Wars
Yoda,
show.
just
What
younger.
I do know is that's Baby Yoda.
Okay, so this Baby Yoda's like a Benjamin Button type. Just
No.
aging
No.
out.
No, he's a different guy. He looks like Yoda, but he's a little kid, so they call him Baby Yoda.
Oh.
Okay.
That's it. That's the
So
whole
it's-
deal.
This species can live to be in the hundreds of years old.
Okay.
So,
So
he's
can
50
this
years
species,
old,
right?
but
Yes.
he's still a baby and can't talk
Like
yet.
sea turtles.
Yeah.
Baby
Yeah.
Yoda's a sea turtle.
Sure. Totally.
Very good. Crush is great.
That's it on the NFL.
And Baby Yoda.
And Baby Yoda. Yeah. Let's see. So on to Major League Baseball, unless there's something else. Going a little out of order on our sheet here. So yeah, let's get into some Major League Baseball. Starting the American League and the East Division. Corey, I'm calling you because I'm definitely super prepared over here. Who's winning the East this year?
I have the Baltimore Orioles winning the East.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eric.
This is why we did this now, because if you had asked me when we did the East preview 3 weeks ago, I would have said the Yankees, but given Garrett Cole's status, I'm going with them O's, hon.
Evan?
There's no chance he picks the Orioles.
Yeah. I don't feel comfortable picking the Orioles to win the division. I really don't. But then looking at the other 4 teams, I'm like, y'all aren't gonna win either. So
Somebody's got to do it.
yeah. So reluctantly, them A's.
Oh, look at that.
All right. Clean sweep.
The AL Central. I'm sticking with Minnesota because I was listening. I think it was Jeff Passan on the ESPN Daily. He was like, "I'm picking the Tigers." I'm like, "What? The Tigers?"
I mean, you could pick anybody in this division. You never know.
Well,
You
yeah, I mean,
pick-
if you're going to go somewhere other than Twins, I probably would say the Tigers, but I also have the Twins winning this division.
Cleveland's the second favorite in the division.
And they
by
can't
big
hit.
odds. I'm not saying I believe that they're going to win the division or.
I mean,
even
I
finish
can
second,
understand
but
that. I would
I'm just putting it out there.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I'd probably still take the Tigers over the Guardians, but I could see the Guardians
Spencer
in that
Torkelson.
mix. I got Spencer Torkelson on my team.
Yeah, and he
Why?
sucks. Corey
Because
wanted me
I-
to draft him. He
because
was
I
making
needed a
fun of me
first
at his
baseman.
house.
I needed a first baseman. I waited too long.
I picked somebody better.
Who do I have as my first baseman?
I don't
I
know.
don't know. Look it up.
We haven't started
Oh, I
playing
have
it, so I
Pete
haven't,
Alonso.
I haven't been writing people's.
Your
up
boy,
yet.
polar
Yeah.
bear.
There
All
you
right,
go.
I'm taking the Twins too.
Oh, well, aren't we exciting?
Yes. AL West winner. For me, the Texas Rangers were leading the AL West, I believe, all year long, and didn't win the division.
That's
No, they
right.
did not.
They held the lead for the entire season. Did not win the division. They blew it in the last weekend to the team I'm picking, the Houston Astros. 7 consecutive ALCS appearances, which is incredible. The Astros are still the best team in the American League, in my opinion. The Orioles, who are essentially copying the Astros model. If this level of success is in the Orioles' future, then I'm excited. But
I don't know if you could handle that level of success with the Orioles.
no,
Yeah, you would be hating the whole time. Like, this dumb team.
Yeah.
So wonder we can't win any games. We just win the pennant every other year.
yeah,
That's gonna be rough at Hershey Park in like 2030 when they're just like this dumb team.
Yeah.
3 straight World Series wins. Oh.
doing 3 straight World Series wins. We're 162-0, where we're down 0-2 in the ALCS again. Like, you've got to be kidding me, right?
That's gonna be you.
Yeah, that's gonna be.
You're gonna be insufferable on those roller coasters.
Yeah.
Just insufferable.
So yeah, Houston Astros win the West.
Yeah, I'm in the same boat because I'm boring like that. The Astros, I've said, were, I believe, the best team in the American League still. Nothing has changed to make me think otherwise. So, yeah.
I've also got the Stros.
Astros, Natty Bays on.
I was thinking the same thing. The wild card teams
First of all, what are our seeds for these three teams?
Oh.
Because we got to do that too.
Yes, that's true. I've got the Astros the 1 seed, the Orioles the 2, and Minnesota the 3.
I have the Orioles as the 1, Astros 2, Twins 3.
You said you have the Orioles 1, Astros
That's
2,
correct. Yes.
and Twins 3.
You
I
have
actually
Minnesota number 1.
I am the same as Evan. I have the Astros 1, the Orioles 2, and the Twins 3.
Okay.
Alrighty. All right.
Astros better figure out how to win on the or win at home again. Yeah.
Oh,
That was bizarre.
it is.
I don't know
That
what
is
that
weird.
was about. That was strange.
Yeah.
All right, wild cards in the American League. Just, I guess, off the top of my head, because I have no notes. I mean, my notepad was left here all of last week. And I'm trying to take some notes, and there's some pens on Corey's desk. Neither one of them works.
Yeah, these are very old pens. I just have them because they have my picture on them. It's me at Pen Relays.
Oh,
Get
at
pen relays.
Ha ha ha. That's very cool.
So
Coach King found them like in his drawer like a month ago. These are like 10, 12 years old.
oh,
Yeah, so of course the ink is dry, but they're so cool. So he gave them to me.
okay. Do you have any functioning pens at this desk?
I do.
So anyway, give me the Rangers and okay. I got Texas. Toronto and Seattle.
Leaving the Yankees out of the
Okay,
post.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, they have 2 good hitters in their lineup.
Yeah, but those guys are
What-
really good.
Yeah,
Those are like the
and-
2 best hitters in the American League.
Yes,
Yeah.
but then one of them is extremely injury prone.
At times, yeah.
If he's not permanently injured with the toe thing.
That is alarming to me when Corey said that this is seemingly a permanent injury.
Or at least a chronic injury
That's
is
the
the
same
way
thing
he's
as
putting it. But
chronic.
yeah.
That's
Yeah.
bad. That's
So-
that's pretty bad for an outfielder. Oof. That's
And
not good.
the Cy Young Award winner in the American League is not going to be here,
For at least 2 months.
at least for a while,
we-
right?
we
And
won't know, yeah.
the games in the first 2 months count.
Yeah.
So
That's a
you know.
third of the games. So
your boy Nestor Cortez Jr. is pitching tomorrow.
Well, Evan and I have the same 4 and 6 seeds. I've got the
Okay.
Rangers 4, and I've got the Mariners 6. I did go ahead and put the Yankees in at 5. I still think that they'll finish ahead of the Blue Jays, and I think that if somebody wins this division other than the Orioles, it's more likely to be the Yankees than any of the other teams. But that's where I'm at. I certainly understand the hesitation to put the Yankees in at all.
yeah, I'm going with the Rangers as the 4. I'm going to take the Yankees as the 5, and I'm going to take the Blue Jays as the 6.
Okay. So
No
nobody
Mariners.
believing in the Rays.
Mariners haterade right here.
Yeah.
yeah. Are we?
I can't believe in the Rays. They've lost so much. No Glass now, no McClanahan.
Yeah. That's where I'm at with
Yeah,
them.
like they're just
Yeah, like I've got the Jays finishing 3rd in the division and the Rays finishing 4th.
I mean, all of these teams are in the mix, but
Yeah.
Like if the Mariners beat out the Blue Jays, I won't be upset because I don't like the Blue Jays, and even though my contempt for the Mariners is significant, it's not that significant. Like I would take them over, the Yankees or the Blue Jays. I'd be, you know how I feel about them. So
Yeah.
No AL Central wildcard teams.
no, we know this. Come on.
You don't have the White Sox or
No,
Royals.
spoiler alert: no NL Central wildcard teams either.
I hadn't even thought that far. Okay, well,
But you already know though. You don't even have
I
to
do
think.
know.
Yeah.
NL East winner. Do you have anybody other than the Braves?
No.
No.
NL West winner. Do you have anybody other than the Dodgers?
No.
Okay. NL Central winner. I will take the Chicago Cubs. to win
Okay.
the Central.
Cubbies, huh? I'm taking the Cubs too.
Oh,
My instinct said Cardinals, but they were so bad last
they
year.
were
What was
putrid
that?
last year.
What was that?
An unmitigated
was that?
disaster. They were in danger of being the worst team in the National League for the first time in 100 years.
Yeah, what was that? I don't know what that was. Corey's
I've
gonna
got the
pick
Cardinals finishing third in the division.
Oh,
I have the Reds.
it. Ooh,
on to
the division.
Cincinnati.
I'm
Okay.
on to Cincinnati for the
Wow.
division. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Jonathan India, my boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Seeds?
Dodgers won. I mean, I feel like I was thinking today the Dodgers are the team most likely to go 162-0 this year. Right?
They already
What does
lost
that
a game.
mean?
Oh,
Yeah.
well, never mind.
No, they're not. They're the least likely.
Well,
They've already
Them
not done
and
it.
the Padres
1-1.
are tied for the least likely
Yeah.
because
Right.
they went 1-1.
Hey, but yeah, exactly. Like, no.
yeah. Well, never mind then. But still, the Dodgers they're going to win a lot of games.
Cubs too?
No.
Come on.
No, the Braves are incredible. They might be better than the Dodgers, but
I'm flipping those
we'll
first
see.
two. I've got Braves one,
I agree.
Dodgers two.
Same thing.
You-
I'm
you
surprised
too.
you didn't pick the Reds for one, Corey. Really go out there with it.
Yeah.
Nah,
Like
I'm not gonna do that.
Nah.
you,
I'm not gonna
Eric,
do
picking
that.
the Lions to win the division.
I'm already going to ruffle
couple
some
years
feathers
ago.
with my wild card, I think.
I picked them to win this year, and they did. So
Oh well, yeah.
1 for 2 in picking the Lions to win the division. The one I missed was
Woeful.
that was brutal.
Yeah.
I thought they had something that year. They didn't.
No. So in the NL wild card, I'll take the Phillies, the Padres.
Dads.
They can't possibly be worse than they were last year,
Mm.
right? Because they had a
They lost Josh Hader and Juan Soto.
That's true.
sticking with the Padres.
I hope you're right because the Padres are still fun.
Yeah. They have Manny Machado,
They
Hine.
do have Manny Machado.
And Fernando Tatis when he's not crashing bikes or getting
Doing
suspended.
steroids or
Who's your six?
Ringworm.
yeah, the ringworm. I said the Phillies
The Padres.
and the Padres and the
Take the Mets.
He's not taking the Mets. He got the Mets in last place.
the Mets are atrocious. Marlins.
Ooh.
Okay.
No.
They just canned your girl Kim Ang though. What's up with that? All right.
I don't want a central team, right?
You
And-
can't pick a central team.
No, and
That's just,
I
come on. Like, be serious.
I said the Padres. I don't think the Giants are gonna make it. Oh, I left the Diamondbacks out, didn't I?
yeah, that's what I was about to say. So I'm taking Phillies 4
Yeah.
with the recent acquisition of Jordan Montgomery. I think that gives the Diamondbacks the juice to get the 5th spot. And then I'm going to take I'm going with the Padres. I mean, I feel like the Giants are probably the better team, but I can't pick them. Like, they're boring.
I'm taking the Diamondbacks 4,
Okay.
the Phillies 5, and the Cubbies 6.
Thought you picked the Cubs. Who?
No, he picked the Reds
I
to
picked
win.
the Reds to win. I'm taking the Cubs 6. Putting the central team in the wild card.
Okay.
That's not.
I
gonna
don't
happen.
trust the Padres right now at all.
Okay.
Trust the Cubs
I don't trust
and the Reds, apparently.
I trust the Cubs and the Reds both more than any of those other teams outside of the Dodgers, Diamondbacks, Braves, and Phillies.
I mean, there's a whole lot of bad in the NL, so I get it.
Yeah.
There's not much here to look at. Like,
No.
No.
like the fact that I'm picking the Padres to make a wild card spot after last year is just
Yeah, I'm completely leaving them out of this.
Yeah.
The Marlins are probably the one team that I could maybe regret not taking instead of the Cubs there.
I'm not regretting that at all.
But I'm good with the Cubs there.
The Marlins could win every game. I wouldn't regret not picking them. They're the Marlins. They're the Marlins.
Yeah.
Like, come on now. It's the Marlins.
Yeah. All right. It says here wild card predictions. So, how do we predict the wild card round of the
Oh, we're doing like a full
baseball
bracket
playoff
here? Is that what we're doing?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
to go?
So, Evan,
Uh-huh.
starting in the AL,
Mm-hmm.
you would have the Twins against the Mariners in one matchup.
Okay.
So who would you take there?
All three of those games would be in Minnesota. Give me Minnesota.
And by what score?
By how many games?
Yeah, like how many games?
2-1.
2-1. Okay. And your other wild card would be the Rangers and the Blue Jays. Rangers is the 4 seed.
Rangers sweep that one.
Rangers sweep.
Okay.
Okay. Eric, you would have the Blue Jays against the Twins in Minnesota.
Wasn't that the series last year? Or did the Twins beat the Rays? I can't remember which.
I
how it
think
went
they
down.
beat
The
the Rays.
Rangers beat the Rays.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
they
the
did.
Twins beat
The Blue Jays.
the Blue Jays.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna happen again.
All right.
Sweep.
In a sweep.
Yeah. Get them out of here. The Blue Jays are phonies.
And your other wild card matchup would be the Yankees and the Rangers. Rangers 4 seed.
I gotta take the Rangers, but I'll do 2-1
Okay.
because I'm assuming Cole will be healthy, and I think
Yeah.
I think they'll win that game. He
So
pitches.
I've got Mariners over Twins, 2-1, and I've got Yankees over Rangers, 2-1.
Okay.
Okay.
NL wildcard predictions. Evan, you would have the 6 seed Marlins at the 3 seed Cubs.
Go Cubs, go. 2-1.
Flying the W.
Yeah.
Okay. And you'd have the Padres at the 4 seed Phillies.
Phillies, easy.
2-0.
Yeah.
Gotta be. Yeah.
Okay.
It's an insane asylum up there.
Okay.
You can't go in there and win.
Eric, you would have the
Except when the
six-
Diamondbacks come to town.
Yeah.
Apparently,
You'd have the 6 seed Padres at the 3 seed Cubs.
Padres can be a little spunky in the post, so I'm gonna give it to the Padres 2-1.
And you would have the Diamondbacks at the 4 seed Phillies.
We just saw this happen.
What did you just say, Eric?
I mean, it did just happen, but I'm thinking the Phillies figure it out this time and take care of business. 2-0.
2-0. Okay. I've got the Reds over the Cubs 2-0. And I've got the Diamondbacks over the Phillies 2-1. All right, so that takes us to the division series, best of 5. The ALDS, we would have for Evan. Let's see here. You would have the
4-5 winner goes to play the
right.
1 seed.
So you would have the Phillies against the Dodgers.
We're singing the NL.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was starting the AL. You're
Okay.
right. So you would have the Rangers against the Astros.
Ooh, boy. That sounds like a fun series. Give me the Rangers in 5.
So no Stros in the ALCS, huh? Leaving them out.
I guess so. I mean,
Okay.
They've been 7 times in a row.
Streak's got to end sometime, right?
Yeah.
And that leaves you with the Twins against the Orioles.
Oh, God.
Oh, come on. You got to have at least a little faith to pick
The
the
Orioles should beat the Twins,
Yeah,
right?
come on.
The Twins, I mean, the Orioles pounded the Twins. I want to say 5-1 last year. Like, it was just a complete demolition.
It was absolutely
So you're
timely.
going
Right before the
3-0,
All-Star break.
3-1, 3-2?
3-2.
3-2.
Yeah.
Okay. Eric, your ALCS, the first matchup would be let's see, you had the Rangers over the Yankees, so you'd have Rangers against the Orioles.
Yeah. That's rough. Again.
We saw how that worked
Yeah,
out.
we just saw how this played out, but there's going to be Corbin Burns going to be on the bump, so I think you got to have faith in the squad. Let's have faith in the squad. The Orioles win 3-2.
Okay. And then your other matchup would be the Twins against the Astros.
I basically picked the same bracket for the ALDS as last year. That's crazy. Yeah, Astros win 3-1.
Okay. And then I have the Astros over the Yankees 3-2. And I've got the Orioles over the Mariners 3-1. NLDS. Evan,
Mm-hmm.
you have the Phillies
And
against the Dodgers.
Well, I feel like the Dodgers are gonna split the first 2, and then fly across the country to Philly, and not realize what they're in for, and lose those 2 games. So Phillies in 4.
Okay, so Phillies over Dodgers 3-2 or 3-1.
3-1.
And then you've got the Cubs against the Braves.
Braves in 3 games.
Sweep.
Yeah.
All right. Eric,
Mm-hmm.
you have the Phillies beating the Diamondbacks, which would then put them against the 1 seed Braves. So Phillies or Braves?
I mean, we've seen this happen 2 years in a row. Phillies, 3-1.
Phillies over Braves 3-1?
Yes. They're going to split the first 2 in Atlanta, and they're going to smoke them in Philly. That's how it's going to go. That's how it's gone down the last couple of times.
Okay.
Atlanta can't win there.
And that gives you, just like the all NL East matchup, you have an all NL West matchup of the Padres and the Dodgers. So who you got? Dodgers or Dads?
Dads win 3-1. The Dodgers are not winning a playoff series longer than 3 games. Can't do it. They won't do it. They suck. They choke every year. Dave Roberts is going to manage his way out of a win like he usually does.
Okay.
They can only win when there's cardboard cutouts in the crowd. It's the only time they can win the playoffs. It's not a serious franchise.
Well, they did have some fans in Texas for World Series.
Cardboard cutouts.
I've got
think
Braves
they have
over
Cubs.
Diamondbacks in 4, Dodgers over Reds in 5.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, with those matchups, that's how it played out for me. So let's move to the ALCS. We all actually no. Evan, you have the Rangers against the Orioles in a best of 7 series. Who you got?
I mean, I don't know. The Rangers seemed to have it all clicking last year in that playoff series. Like it
The
just
whole playoffs in general.
well, yeah, they steamrolled right through pretty much everybody. I mean, give me the Rangers in 6 games. At least the Orioles win a championship series game. You know, first time since 1997.
Yeah. That'd be nice.
Right, I was in 2nd grade.
Yeah, I remember. I wasn't there, but I remember. I
Oh,
watched
okay.
on TV.
Eric, Orioles and Astros.
O's win 4-2.
So I also have the Orioles, even though in my case, where Eric has the Orioles as the 1 seed, and so having home field advantage, I do not. I still have the Orioles also winning over the Astros in 6 games, 4-2. NLCS predictions. Evan, Phillies and Braves.
Phillies.
4-2.
4 games to
Do it. Go for it.
1.
Okay.
Okay. Eric, Phillies or Dads?
Phillies in 6.
I've got the Braves over the Dodgers 4-2. And that brings us to the World Series. Evan, you've got the Phillies and the Rangers.
I mean, it's hard to give me the Phillies, right? You know, they have the playoff juices flowing. Like
You hilariously misspelled twins on your Google search, by the way.
oh, okay, yes, I did.
Yayins.
What?
It's like Yeins. I was trying to figure out what you were trying to look up, but Google was smart enough to correct it. It's like, did you mean twins manager?
Yeah,
Not even close.
spelled like veins,
But with a Y.
but with a Y.
So Phillies over Rangers, what's the margin?
Give me 7 games.
Okay. Eric, O's Phillies.
1983
Going back
rematch, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Orioles won that one in 5. They're not winning this one in 5. Orioles in 7. I'm going to stress us out.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Game 7 at Oriole Park sometime in, early November.
It's gonna be freezing
It's going to
cold.
be freezing. They're going to blow a bunch of leads. It's going to be nuts. You're going to give a home run to Bryce Harper. It's going to make you duck and cover or something like that again.
Oh,
But they're going to get it done.
goodness.
The Braves figured it out this year. They won the World Series when Ronald Acuna was injured, and now he's back, and he
Acuna.
wants it. They're going to get it done. Braves over Orioles in 6.
Boo.
Yep.
Who has home field advantage in that series for you?
I think I would have the Braves because I have the Braves as the 1 seed in the West. I have the Orioles as the 2 seed I have the Braves as the 1 seed in the NL, Orioles are the 2 seed in the AL, which most likely implies that the Braves would have more wins.
Okay.
I do believe the Braves are going to have more wins than anybody else in baseball this
I
year.
think so too, but I don't have them in the World Series, so it doesn't matter for me.
But
I mean, I have the Dodgers at 162-0 after they already lost again.
Pretty impressive.
yeah.
Way to
That good.
Way to recover a loss. That's pretty cool. You can't make up losses. Dodgers are like, yes, we can.
Yeah.
Watch me.
We're paying Shohei Ohtani $1 million this year.
Gambling it all away.
It's $700 million.
Maybe.
eBay is gambling it all away, supposedly.
And stealing it, apparently.
That's what Shohei says.
Yeah. I guess that transitions nicely. Shohei Ohtani.
We got other stuff to pick, though, bro.
We do?
Yeah, we got to pick awards.
Yeah. Got awards. MVP, Cy Young, Rookie of the Year, Manager of the Year. Let's go.
Oh, okay. Well, fine then. Back to some awards then. American League Rookie of the Year, because I have that written down already. I have Evan Carter of the Texas Rangers. He was impressive in the playoffs, and he's second in the odds that I just looked up.
I also have Evan Carter, and it's mostly because he's starting the year in the Major League lineup, which I think could give him the edge over Jackson Holliday, because we still don't know exactly when Holliday is going to be called up. And I think Carter's going to have a phenomenal year for the Rangers.
I'd love for Wyatt Langford.
Never heard of him.
Well, I have a certain Oriole winning Rookie of the Year. It's not Jackson Holliday.
Colton Cowser.
Colton Cowser, baby.
Whoa.
A major dark horse. He's going to rake. That's my prediction. He's going to rake this year.
Okay.
Had a rough start last year when he got called up to the show. He's ready. He's going to beast. That's what I'm saying.
But what if the other team has a left-handed pitcher on their roster? Like anywhere, he's not going to be allowed to play.
Hayes is going to get hurt or something like that, and he's going to be in the lineup every day.
I think Hayes gets traded.
He probably needs to. I said he needed to get traded last year. Everybody was like, oh, no, you can't trade an all-star. I'm like, sure you can.
That's why you should trade
People
him,
do it all the time.
right? The Twins gave up Yennier Cano and somebody else for Jorge Lopez, who was bad.
Yeah, but he was an all-star.
But he was an all-star. So like, oh, we get an all-star closer coming in here. Mm-hmm. Right? Like, okay. So, NL Rookie of the Year. I have Yoshinobu Yamamoto. Aside from getting
Off to a bad start. Off to a
getting
horrible start.
toasted over in Korea last week.
Yeah, that was not good.
The Dodgers have a thing for winning NL Rookie of the Year.
Maybe he did so poorly in that game that he's been moved down to third in the rotation, coming back to the States.
Okay, well, there's a lot of baseball left. They only got till October, right? And it's March. There's plenty of time to figure it out. Gunnar couldn't hit the side of a barn last year for 2 months.
That's true.
And then all of a sudden, he was just unstoppable.
Top 10 MVP vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of y'all, NL Rookie of the Year.
I mean, Yamamoto is still the odds-on favorite to win. So, yeah, I'm going with him. Because I don't want to pick somebody that's on a boring team like the Giants. Like, Young-Hoo Lee might win, but he's a Giant. I'm not sure.
I'm actually taking a player who I don't even have in the playoffs this year.
Playoffs.
I have Jackson Chorio from the Milwaukee Brewers. The more I've read about him and like the high praise that scouts have given him, I think that he could be the real deal for them.
Any consideration for Paul Skeens?
You just wanted to say Paul Skeens, didn't you?
You know why I wanted to bring him up.
No.
Because he's dating Livy Dunn.
Oh.
Yeah.
The gymnast from LSU?
Yes, and Paul Skeens is a ace pitcher for LSU. They won the College World Series last summer. So
Okay.
he's the number one pick in last year's draft. The Orioles found out real quick how good he was in spring ball. He's nasty. But
I imagine he's not pitching in the majors this year, though.
not yet, but he's still on the board for Rookie of the Year.
What team even drafted him?
Pirates.
The Pirates?
Pirates had the number one pick last year.
Okay. Cool. I was going to say, I followed the prospects and stuff closely when the Orioles were picking up at the top.
Do we need to add a taxi squad for minor league players in our?
What is
No.
a taxi squad? Let's see. Let me find a picture. Yeah, there's Paul Skeens right there. With
Jackson Holliday is
He's very tall.
rostered in our league,
yeah.
even though we only get 5 bench spots. So,
Colton Cowser's rostered too by your boy.
but he's actually on the major league roster.
Yeah, he
right
is.
now.
But
Jackson
I
Holliday
picked
is not.
It was my last pick.
Let's see, AL MVP, because just picked mine. Jordan Alvarez is going to hit some tanks.
Oh, yes, he is.
Oh, my goodness
he's a
gracious. That's it.
He's still with the Astros.
Yes. Corey.
I've got Julio Rodriguez.
Oh. That'd be cool. He's moved up the board quite a bit. He's the third favorite behind your two Yanks, Corey, behind Judge and Soto. I'm going to go, though, with Corey Seaboss. Corey Seager.
Okay.
He was the runner-up last year. Likely would have won the MVP in any year that Shohei Brotani wasn't pitching. But Shohei was pitching last year for at least most of the season, and had Shohei only been hitting, Corey Seager would have won this award running away, and I think he's going to rake again. So
I hope he doesn't win the award. He spells his name wrong.
that is true. He's inefficient. Any consideration for any O's? Because Gunnar Henderson and Adley Rutschman are both on the board.
I've seen people pick both of them, and no,
it's a
not
crowded
really.
field.
Yeah,
It's a crowded
exactly.
field. And they might split votes too.
Yeah.
If they both have good seasons. So.
Yeah, that's kind of my thought with like the Yankees players with Juan Soto and Aaron Judge.
Yeah, they could
like,
split votes.
I
Too.
get that they're the two favorites, but that means they're probably going to split votes.
Yeah, and if one of them underperforms, that means the team's going to suck. So you're probably going to get less consideration for the award.
Right. Yep.
Let's see. NL MVP. I've got Ronald Acuna Jr. I believe he won last year.
He did.
Yeah.
Like a 40-70 season or something absurd like that.
He's going to go 50-70 this year.
50
He's going
dingers.
to he's going to
I
go
want him to go
50-70.
50-80.
He could do that.
He might go 80.
I have Ronald Acuna Jr. as well for just that reason. And speaking of Ronald Acuna Jr., he had a really good article in the Players Tribune today that just kind of talked about his upbringing and how he came to baseball, and talked about some of the things that he's been criticized for during his time with,
Like his
with
chain
the
and
Braves.
his tilted hat. Yeah.
And some of it he said like
Homer.
some of it he was apologetic for, such as his like lack of hustle early in his career, and other things like the way that he celebrates home runs and things like that. He's not very apologetic for, which I think is great. Like,
I like his
he
little-
doesn't need to be.
His little side stepper on third base is pretty cool.
Oh, yeah.
If he were to try to become different and stop doing that, he probably would be a worse player, because all of that is what makes him him and what makes him great.
Gotta love
Yeah.
Cook.
It's the same thing with Fernando Tatis Jr. So yeah, I've also got Acuna here. It's weird because I was looking at a bunch of different predictions from people on USA Today, CBS, MLB, ESPN. I did not see his name anywhere, and I could not believe that nobody seems to be picking him.
Who's that?
Acuna.
Well, because he won last year, so they're looking for something new. I mean, he's the betting favorite.
Is he?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's
I mean,
plus
I think
500
he should be.
according to-
I think he should be.
According
I
to
think there's
Duel,
good reason
Kings,
for that. I saw
Bet365,
a lot
Caesars.
more Fernando Tatis.
Well,
I saw a lot of Shohei Ohtani.
I think those odds are crazy just because he's not pitching.
Right. Like he is a good hitter. He is not an elite hitter.
No, he's an elite hitter.
I mean,
I mean, he's an elite home run hitter for sure.
If y'all weren't going to get food and drinks when you get that home run,
We
last
saw
year,
it on the
But
TV
he
screens.
He is not somebody that I ever look at and like he's the best hitter in the National League.
He's a top 10 hitter in baseball.
Okay, yeah. So saying he's not elite, that's probably a little overbooking on my part. But
Yeah.
he is not somebody I would ever look at and say he's the best hitter in the National League. And if you're not the best hitter in the National League, you can't win the MVP unless you also pitch really well.
Or you dominate in the field, and Shohei
doesn't play the field.
They've suggested he might play the field some, but he's primarily going to be a designated
Not enough that
hitter.
even if his glove is a plus
The
glove,
thing
it's
is,
not
I
gonna
don't
be
want
enough.
him playing the field if he's got a repaired elbow that we're hoping he recovers from eventually and is able to pitch and hit like next year.
Yeah.
So to me, he's not a realistic candidate. No. He's not going to hit 75 home runs or anything like that.
and he's on a loaded Dodgers team with other MVP.
Yeah, with
candidates
Freddie
in there.
Freeman, I think deserves more consideration.
Probably.
Mookie Betts deserves more consideration, although he
Yes,
is actually
yeah.
getting it.
I've seen Mookie Betts on those lists too.
So, me not picking Acuna doesn't mean I'm suggesting he's not the best player in the National League. I just kind
You're
of
just saying he's a bum.
I just want to pick somebody else because it's fun. And somebody that I think is kind of slept on a little bit is Fernando Tatis at times because of his recent transgressions, as Evan found out while we were in line for Iron Gwazi, that he wasn't going to be playing baseball for a little while because of the steroids.
I remember that.
I remember that.
Was this while it was broken down before we'd written it at all?
No, it was after that because it was around the same time we found out that Dayton Lane Hall will be making his debut when we were there.
Yeah.
Which is wild. But anyway, Fernando Tatis, like I mentioned it when we previewed the West last week. Now that he's moved off his shortstop, where he was kind of subpar as a defender, like he's kind of like a Derek Jeter type, where it's like, okay, yeah, like we make fun of Derek Jeter for being a bad defender, but was he really the worst defender ever? No, he was just the worst defender that was allowed to keep playing shortstop forever. That was kind of what Fernando Tatis looked like before they got Xander Bogaerts. They moved Nando to the outfield, and he's tremendous out there. So that adds value, and he's presumably going to be healthy and ready to start the season, and we know what he can do with the bat. Yeah. So, he's in the prime of his career. I think he's going to have a huge season.
That's a good pick. All right. American League Cy Young. I just went with the favorite for both of them. I said Kevin Blank Gausman for Cy Young Award. Been rooting for Kevin Gausman since I think the Orioles drafted him in like 2012 or something like that.
Yep, he's like a top 5 pick. LSU guy too.
Yes. Yeah. So Kevin Gausman, go get him.
Well, the odds that I saw had Kevin Gausman as a co-favorite with a current Oriole, one Mr. Corbin Burns. Mm-hmm. In fact, most of these books actually have Burns as a slight favorite.
That's what I've seen.
Only Bet365 has Gausman ahead of him. The rest are either tied or a slight favorite.
I've seen Burns more often.
I think
Kevin Gausman was the first name I read on here, and he's
so
at
Eric,
the
you're
top
going
of the
with
sheet.
Burns?
I think there's a little bit of... It's not quite as drastic as splitting votes like Juan Soto and Aaron Judge, but the Blue Jays rotation is really good top to bottom, whereas Corbin Burns, especially with Kyle Bradish missing time, is going to have to really carry this Orioles team, and I think he's going to. So I think he's going to get some bonus points for that, so I'm picking him to win the Cy Young.
I'm taking Luis Castillo, and really between him and Julio Rodriguez, the fact that I'm giving both these awards to them is kind of the main reason why I took Seattle over another AL East team for that second wild card spot in the American League.
Any concern
or
about
for
him,
the third wild card spot?
Any concern about him maybe losing out to George Kirby or Logan Gilbert because they're both on the board as well?
That's fair, and I didn't really think too much about the fact that they have a couple of other good pitchers there, but I do think that Castillo is the best of the
he's
three and fairly clearly the best.
Although Grayson Rodriguez is also on the board for Corbin Burns.
I think it's also. I think that. I don't know if splitting votes is quite as common for the Cy Young Award as it is for MVP because you don't see two starting pitchers on the bump on the same day, right? So like they're all independent of each other, whereas when you're looking at hitters, you kind of associate the two. I think you would associate like Juan Soto and Aaron Judge a lot more closely by the end of the season than you would Castillo and Gilbert, like.
Well, plus there's also a connection with the fact that if Aaron Judge hits a home run and Juan Soto's on base, well,
he gets
they both benefit from it in some way. So, whereas like we've seen it happen where I think it was 2019 when Justin Verlander won the Cy Young, and the runner-up was Garrett Cole, and they were on the same team because you could just look at the stats and say, oh yeah, these are the two best guys.
Yep.
Let's vote for which one we think is better. So it's not as common for pitching, but Castillo's obviously a good pick. He's the third favorite according to pretty much every book.
All right, NL Cy Young. Again, same approach for me. Spencer Strider of the Braves.
Did he win last year?
No, Blake Snell won.
Oh, right, Blake Snell. You're right. I'm sorry. Because I knew you racked up a ton of Ks.
Yeah, he just strikes out everybody. Apparently he has giant quads now.
So he's Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Saquon Barkley.
Yes.
Sure.
So, hopefully Major League Baseball has the pants situation figured out.
The Nats won't because all their stuff's going to be made by Fanatics for their team store.
Oh.
That was announced.
I did see that.
That's rough.
I thought that like all of the gear was basically made by Fanatics at this point.
Yeah, but like the stuff they sell at the stadium, I think. They partnered with Fanatics, which is something I would be horrified to hear.
I mean, I've seen their pants rip when people are sliding into bases. So
I've seen my pants rip when I was getting off a roller coaster. So can relate.
Jeez. I've also got Spencer Strider. I think that he's going to be the best pitcher, not just in the National League, but in baseball this year. So, between him and Acuna, it's the main reason why I'm confident that the Braves will be the 1 seed in the NL and that they will win the World Series this year, despite some recent playoff struggles.
Yeah, I look at the other favorites, and they don't really do anything for me. Strider's the clear pick. Like, Zach Wheeler's probably the guy I would pick after him.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Like, after that, Logan Webb, no. Yamamoto, we've already seen him get rocked. A little. Zach Allen's fine. Max Fried is good, but Tyler Glasnow, come on. Like, maybe it's because, again, I talked about Tyler Glasnow, how he just no goop, blamed his torn UCL on lack of goop, which is bizarre, and then he just gets lit up by the Orioles all the time. So how can I respect you? This dumb team always lights you up in key games.
Yeah.
You're not winning no Cy Young. Come on.
Yep.
Oh, Blake Snell on the board at plus 1,800.
And he's on
the Giants.
Yeah.
Oh.
Is he even going to start opening day? Because, like, is he ready?
I don't think so.
Yeah, like, how can he be ready?
Remember
Same
seeing
thing with
his
Jordan
face.
Montgomery.
I feel like I scrolled through the scores page on the MLB app, and I feel like I would have noticed a Stinky Peterson lookalike.
The Giants are starting Logan Webb tomorrow.
Oh.
Well, yeah, because Logan Webb is also on the board, and I don't like him as a pick either. Not great.
Let's see. I navigated away. Managers of the year. Starting the American League, as I was just Googling who the Twins manager is.
The Yanes manager?
Yeah. I have Rocco Baldelli, one of the greatest athletes of all time from Rhode Island. Because, sure.
This is tough because I picked all the same teams to make the playoffs as last year, it seems. So like,
I was looking at the same thing.
Like, who's going to be the surprise American League team? So it's like, you got to give it to a playoff team. That's kind of the rule with this. Brandon Hyde won it last year. They're not going to give it to him again because the Orioles are expected to be good. I mean, Rocco Baldelli sounds fine, right? Like, sure, let's go with him.
Okay.
It's not going to be Aaron Boone.
So I'm actually going with Joe Espada. I know it's the Astros, but he's a first-year manager. So if he takes that team to a 1 seed in the AL,
Like a Barry Switzer situation, though, right? Like,
I don't care.
or the guy that won the fourth Super Bowl in San Francisco.
I'm not going to give it to a team that is, yes, the 3 seed, but should probably be the 6 seed in the playoffs. Like, I'm giving it to the guy who's in his first year managing and still is able to maintain the same level of success you expect from the Houston Astros over the past 7 seasons.
Did they give Dusty Baker Manager of the Year when he took over for A.J. Hinch? Ever? Well, because that first year that was the 2020 season where the Astros kind of sucked, but then got to the ALCS anyway.
And they forced a Game 7 after being down
3-0. Yeah, it happened. Yeah. I was talking about George Seifert was the 49ers head coach in 1989 because Bill Walsh retired, and he took over and they won the Super Bowl. But I don't think anybody was that impressed with that because
no, he didn't.
But
Rocco Baldelli has won it before, and Kevin Cash won it 2 years in a row, 2020 and 2021.
Even though he's out here blowing World Series. not leaving Blake Snell in when he's dominating. And they immediately lose the World Series, like just right away. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
Love it.
Yeah. Those are our picks for the AL.
All right.
The NL.
NL Manager of the Year. I just Googled who the Padres manager is, and apparently it's Mike Shildt.
Shildt?
Yes. SHILDT.
A little close to home there with the spelling. SHL. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a picture of me. He's wearing a Cardinals uniform, so I guess he was with them before.
Yeah, he was the Cardinals manager for a while, and they went to the playoffs a lot, and they won like 87 games every year or something, and they got tired of that and fired him.
And now they stink.
Yeah.
Okay.
Eric?
Yeah, I'm going with the Padres guy, Shields, as well. Like he's again, like I look at, you're not going to give it to, is it still Snitker? Is he still managing the Braves?
Yes.
Oh my God, Snicker.
He's an idiot.
I don't think he can manage, but he just has such a good team. It doesn't matter.
he was going to get Bo Portered in like 2018-19 or something.
Yeah.
But then the team started winning before they could do that, so they just kept them around.
Yeah.
I think Snitker looks exactly like the Braves' new mascot Blooper. Like it's uncanny.
Blooper's great.
Yeah, but they look how does the mascot look like a person? Like imagine if somebody told you that you look like the Philly Fanatic, how would you feel?
I mean, because the Philly Fanatic is awesome, I'd be kind of cool with it. But in general, if you told me I look like Blooper, I'd be offended. Or if I looked like Orbits, yeah, I would be. I'd be pretty offended. And those are great mascots, but they're not people.
So I'm going to take a manager who is in his 6th year.
I don't know
who I have leading
Black.
his team to its first division title under him, and their second playoff berth, with their first being a 31-29 season in 2020.
This is David Bell of the Reds.
David Bell of the Reds. Nice call, Evan.
Yeah.
Yes, David Bell of the Reds.
I don't know who
or did you read that I had already written it in the show notes?
No, because
Okay.
my thing doesn't update.
his phone's not updated.
Yeah. I'm like, I'm like, which crazy team did Corey pick to go to the playoffs? Like, oh, well, the Reds.
I don't get managers fired, so everybody should be fine here.
I mean,
Only coaches get fired, no managers.
you picked the same people that I did, so.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And the thing is with baseball managers, like, you can really only mess it up. You know, blow a World Series, for example.
You still go to the Hall of Fame like Earl Weaver did, you know.
Yeah.
He told that umpire he was going to the Hall of Fame. That umpire didn't buy it.
Oh.
Umpire was wrong.
The umpire didn't buy it.
Yeah, he responded when Earl said, "That's why I'm going to be in the Hall of Fame. Nobody will know who you are." I'm like, well, I know who he is because of this video, Earl.
I don't know who the umpire is.
I'm sure I could figure out
what is his name?
I forgot.
Oh,
But
okay.
it's
So you know who he is.
Well, I know what he looks like. Maybe he's in the Hall of Fame too. I don't know.
He could be.
I doubt it. But I know Earl's in the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Not here blowing World Series, you know.
I mean, you know, the managers, I feel like, can only make wrong moves, like Kevin Cash, for example. Like,
That was a really wrong move.
that was egregious. Like, you know, it's
That's not true. Buck Showalter made some right moves for sure. The intentional walk in Game 3 that worked out,
oh yeah,
where he puts the winning run on base to face Nick Castellanos of all people,
yes,
and then he grounds into a double play and they lose the game and the Orioles go on to the ALCS. That was a right move.
that was brilliant.
Yeah, because we were all like, "What are you doing, Buck? This is crazy. You're putting the winning run on base."
Well, I mean, the batter wasn't it Victor Martinez?
Yeah, or J.D. Martinez, one of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they walked him and they were like, "Yeah, we'll take our chances with Nick Castellanos, who was a bum back then."
He was a rookie.
Yeah, and a bum. He was playing third base.
Yeah.
He wasn't even an outfielder back then. Wasn't even a terrible outfielder yet.
You know,
He hadn't started having tragedies happen leading to home runs yet.
well, I mean, was the Thom Brenneman one?
Thome Brenneman, yeah, that was
Was that a
2020.
tragedy or just
It was
somebody doing something stupid?
It was an unfortunate event for him. Wasn't
But
for
like,
us.
there's
We
no
loved
woe was me when it's self-inflicted.
Wasn't an unfortunate event for Nick Castellanos. either.
No, he made it a 4-0 ball game
Yeah.
and became a meme.
And
And now he's an all-star. Nick Castellanos was irrelevant until then.
He was a good player for you after that.
Yeah. It was pretty good.
Too bad you missed the first week of his performances when he was hitting a lot of dingers
Yeah,
that season because
I-
we didn't use the first week. Of
Yeah, I know,
games.
and that's why I bitched and complained about that. I was like, no, we need to start when the season starts.
And now we do.
Yeah.
That doesn't help you though.
Too late for me, but you know, I still got a ring.
Yeah.
A trophy. I think we don't do rings.
okay, let's see. I missed some stuff in the Orioles discussion. Did we talk about Tony Kemp?
No.
No. Okay. Well, the Orioles have him now. So
Cool.
Another left-handed bum veteran that we picked up instead of just calling up our top prospect.
Mhm.
Ah,
Yeah,
cool.
exactly.
That'll be fun.
not our top prospect, the top prospect.
Yes. For the whole league. Yes.
Let's
It's
see.
also not as cool as Matt Kemp.
No, he's
Matt
not.
Kemp.
Yeah, Matt Kemp.
Okay, but like, maybe he can be as cool as Matt Kemp
Doubt
at
it.
some point.
Nah,
Matt
I
Kemp
don't-
was
I don't
awesome.
think so. Matt Kemp was really good.
He was. Let's see. Corbin Burns is starting tomorrow. Y'all should know that by now. The sale of the Orioles was made official today. It was voted by the other baseball owners
Approved unanimously.
Now the Orioles owner is David Rubenstein.
Yep. And of course, that comes after the news about Peter Angelos, who passed away
Yes.
last week, and the sale had basically been that, like, what was it, 40% or 60% would go to Rubenstein, and then the other 40% would be transferred to him upon Peter Angelos' death. But the sale itself had not been confirmed, like it hadn't been approved yet. Now it has been, and I'm assuming that includes the entirety of the team now.
Yep.
Sure. Something I thought was interesting, Checker Spot Brewing, they last week, before Peter Angelos passed away, they had come out with a beer called Adios Angelos. Because to celebrate
he was leaving. He was
John
sold
Angelos,
yeah.
Selling the team
Yes.
and going away.
Yes.
But with Peter's passing, they are not going to use that name for that beer anymore.
Yeah, which is wise on their part, and it's
yeah.
good that they did it quickly. They they didn't need like a bunch of backlash in order to make that change.
Yeah,
because it just like optically it doesn't look great.
Yeah.
Like we know what the intent was when they came out with it, but now it could be taken differently and understandably so for some people. So
that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I got a little bit of late breaking news here.
No.
It's we addressed it a little bit, just kind of following up on what we talked about with the Capitals/Wizards. Apparently, they have agreed to a $515 million deal that will see the Capitals and Wizards stay at Capital One Arena until 2050.
2050.
Yeah. So
okay.
Wow.
they ain't going nowhere.
Nope, they are not.
Oh. Okay. 2050 is not that far away, really. Because
More than 25 years.
But the Orioles lease is through 2062, right?
Okay, but given the fact that they were trying to move out by 2028, it's kind of a big deal.
Okay.
The team's going to be here for almost 3 more decades because of that.
Good. Yeah. I just think we're getting old.
The A's will supposedly be in Las Vegas well before then.
Are the A's going to be on the Earth next season? Right? Are they going on hiatus for 3 years? Like, what is happening? It's a complete disaster over there.
My Yankees begin play tomorrow in Houston, 4:10 p.m. It is MLB TV's free game of the day, which means that I will get to watch that game, which is awesome. Nestor Cortez and Framber Valdez will be on the bump for the two teams. Found out this week that DJ LeMahieu was going to start the season on the injured list, and the team is hoping that he'll be ready for the home opener on April 5th, but there's some question about whether that's actually going to be the case. He's dealing with some sort of a foot injury, I believe. I think it's like a bruised foot, but I don't know the extent to it. They were talking about he's like ramping up activity, but he's still uncomfortable, so I don't know. Meanwhile, Anthony Rizzo returned to the team just in time for the last spring training game, so he apparently is going to be ready for opening day, which hopefully is a good thing for the Yankees.
Well, hopefully he's not going to play concussed for 3 months this year. Like,
Goodness gracious.
he was so bad. I was like, this guy looks like a completely different player. It's like, well, it's because he doesn't
Apparently he
have
was.
a functional brain right now. He's operating
a functional brain right
at
now.
less than 100% capacity
Corey,
in between the
write
years.
that down right quick? One other thing I wanted to mention about baseball. I'm kind of all over the place, which is typical. Why doesn't Major League Baseball sort of load the schedule in a way that the southern teams and dome teams have more home games on opening day?
I liked how you typed in the show notes so that southern teams and some teams play home games.
Yeah, well,
I knew what it meant, but it took me a second to realize it.
Yeah,
I had to read the rest of the sentence and figure out from context.
like the Brewers, who play indoors now.
Yeah.
Their game is postponed tomorrow because it's in New York City. Why can't the Brewers just have a home game now that they play in a dome? Let's see. I believe the Blue Jays and Rays are playing each other. They're both dome teams. Mm-hmm. We're now.
Why not split them up for the first series?
We're now wasting a dome.
Yeah, the Phillies and Braves are postponed tomorrow in Philadelphia.
Mm-hmm. I mean, well, the Braves play outside too, but it's
True, but they're in the
it's less
South.
likely
It's
to be
less likely-
freezing
yeah.
cold.
And raining. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's less likely to rain in Georgia, but it's definitely less likely to be freezing cold.
Yeah,
It doesn't
and that's
rain
what I
that
would
much
like
in
to.
Georgia, right?
I would like to avoid the freezing cold. I
That's
think the
preferable.
Twins opened up at home last year
That's insane.
for some reason. The Orioles started.
This year they're at Kansas City.
Yeah, the Orioles started last year in Boston, which was frosty.
And disastrous in other ways, as we were coming back from Hershey Park.
Oh my God! Yeah, that happened. Your Mariners, when you actually were a Mariners fan, it wasn't opening day, but it was like the first week of the season. They had
Yeah.
a 4-game series in Cleveland.
I remember that
and
was
it snowed 3 feet.
that ruined the season for the Mariners because they ran out of gas at the end because they had to make up all those games sporadically. So they had to, like, every off day basically got filled with, we got to fly to Cleveland and play the then Indians. And, it was just like, by the end of the season, it's like, we've played like 30 days in a row.
Yeah.
And the team went on like a big losing streak when they were in a wild card position. They were 3 games back of the Angels to win the division. And then they ended up missing the playoffs by 3 games behind Corey's Yankees.
Oh.
That was our best shot to make
This
the
was in
postseason.
2009?
2007.
2007.
Yes.
Oh.
That was like the best Mariners season that I had enjoyed since 2001. And they didn't make the playoffs.
Yep.
And then they proceeded to stink for another 15 years in a row, basically.
Okay. Yeah. So why can't they figure this out? If I can figure it out, that there's, there's a couple cities that are kind of like Cincinnati would have to play at home, and then the Giants and the A's would have to play at home, but Minnesota's not going to be at home. Detroit, Cleveland, neither New York team. The Red Sox, right? Like, why do they have home games early in the season? That doesn't make sense to me.
A little bit of additional breaking news that's actually kind of humorous. Draymond Green got ejected 4 minutes into tonight's game.
What?
Golden
4
State
minutes?
is at the Magic. I saw something on Twitter about Rasheed Wallace celebrating that Draymond's eventually going to pass his ejections record, which I didn't think was likely because it's like, man, that's still a lot of ejections he's got to get. Well, this is his 4th one this year, so 4 minutes in, the Warriors are actually up 8 points on the Magic, who are good. Like, the Magic are legitimately good. They're 42-29.
How do you get ejected 4 minutes into
I
a
haven't
game?
seen the footage. It's like Earl Weaver getting ejected 3 pitches into the game and yelling at the umpire about how they're just there to use your imagination.
Your imagination.
So,
exactly.
Shout out to Draymond for that, probably screwing his team out of a win because I'm sure the Warriors are going to lose now because Draymond's their second best player and the Magic are good. I don't care if they're ahead; they're going to blow that game, just like Earl Weaver blowing World Series.
World Series.
Yeah.
You're a liar, Earl. A liar. Don't you put your finger on me.
Yeah, watch the go watch the video. It's iconic. It's
It
great.
is iconic.
Also, the Tom Hallion video was circulating again. I love that.
Oh yeah, I always watch.
Now,
that.
there was a baseball topic you wanted to talk about and almost jumped to as we were still doing our predictions for awards.
And
Shohei Ohtani.
oh, we didn't talk about that.
We
No, we didn't
really
actually
talked about that happened
continue
last
that.
week at the end, and we were calling, Shohei Ohtani, whatever. Some weird thing happened with him, and then we got home and found out, oh, this is serious.
Yes.
Yeah. So, from what we know now, and by the time we get back on here next week, it could all have changed again. But apparently, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter stole $4.5 million.
According to Shohei Ohtani,
Yeah, and his
interpreter stole $4.5 million.
Yeah, and lost all of it gambling or something.
Well, he probably stole it to pay back gambling debts. he had
That's
already
my
accrued.
understanding from that he owed to an illegal bookie.
Okay, so there's a lot of moving parts to this, and
There's a lot of questions regarding how involved Shohei Ohtani may have been or may not have been in this.
Yes, it's questions about who knew what when. Mm-hmm. There's questions about the story changing over the past week or so.
The fact that Shohei's people changed their story a bit is a little bit suspicious.
It's a lot suspicious.
Their explanation is that they gained more details about it between the two statements, which
What?
which might be the case. I mean,
That sounds like a bunch of crap.
again, this is a story that is still developing, so it's possible that's the
It's
case.
their story.
But it started as their story, which definitely raises the suspicion level there, which is why my personal opinion is that Shohei is probably more involved in this than he is letting on. But we
Yeah.
don't have any evidence yet that he is directly involved.
Right.
So we have to wait for more information to come out.
The key here is that I'm pretty sure we do know that there were no bets placed on baseball games.
I believe that's also coming from his former now translator is saying that he never bet on baseball.
Well, I mean, need somebody to come out and say otherwise. That
You're gonna need some receipts on that.
yeah.
You know,
I mean,
one way or the other.
the receipts exist, right? If somebody
Well, if it's
is
off-
owed
if
money,
If it's off the books, so if it's an illegal bookie, that's not the same as making a bet on DraftKings or FanDuel,
Yes.
where it's going to be like there's an easily like a database you can go to check like your spreadsheet on who you've gambled on.
This guy's got a little black book that he's writing this stuff down.
Right.
there's, but if there is money owed, that means a bet was made, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there was a bet made somewhere, and doesn't sound like they won. So like,
Right, but
the bookie is gonna need a couple dollars.
But the bookie would then have to tell investigators what specifically was bet on. Like if we're talking about the issue of were there bets placed on baseball games? And obviously specifically Angels games would be the most pertinent because then you've got a Pete Rose situation.
Well, I mean, it sounds like he bet them to win a lot, which was not great.
Well, hopefully he wasn't betting on the Angels at all. Otherwise he's going to be out of the league. And
Yeah.
even worse, he wouldn't be a very smart bettor because he's
No.
betting on the Angels to win.
Yeah.
Maybe he's betting on them to lose.
Yeah.
But anyway.
it's well, the bookie, like Shohei Ohtani and his interpreter are just sort of collateral damage caught in the wash here. Like the FBI was already investigating this illegal bookie, and then it was on the list of clients or
Yeah.
whatever. It's like, this is weird. So oftentimes that's kind of what happens is, somebody gets busted for something and they're going down their list of transgressions like, oh my, this is worse than we thought.
Well, so my concern, I've got a lot of concerns about Shohei's story here that Ippei was just stealing all his money unbeknownst to him. That's, one, it's hard to believe that his translator, I realize they're very close friends, or were very close friends. I imagine that relationship has been altered at this point.
I would imagine so too.
But you guys are close friends. Mm-hmm. There's no way in hell I would ever give you access to my bank accounts.
You wouldn't give us $4.5 million?
Well, I ain't got it to give, so
Oh.
I don't know what to tell you.
But there's also a
Yeah,
big
but it's
difference between saying here, like, there's $4.5 million to cover your expenses, and here is just unbridled access to my bank accounts to do
Have
whatever
fun,
you
right.
want with it.
Yeah, with me not even checking in. And so that's unbelievable, right? Like the idea that this guy was just allowed to do this and Shohei didn't care. Don't believe it for a second. That doesn't compute, especially because they did change the story. Initially, the story was
The money was just stolen.
well that was the makeup story. The original story was that Shohei wired the money to this guy to cover Ippei's gambling debts, like being a good buddy, which sounds plausible.
Yeah.
Right. The issue, though, is that I question, and most people have questioned this, the translator makes, maybe $500,000 a year, which is good money for most people, but not enough money to incur $4.5 million worth of a line of credit with a bookie. That's not a thing. No bookie's going to give you that kind of play
I would not think
with
so.
that type of income. The only way that they would is if they knew you had backing from someone who has a lot more money than that, like, say, Shohei Ohtani. Now, that doesn't mean that Shohei was making the bets. That doesn't mean that Shohei had any involvement with that process, but
He's bankrolling.
there had to be some type of assurance to that bookie, in my opinion at least, that Ippei was good for the money. Because he could say, well, Shohei's my boy. Well, he's going to say, well, okay, but that doesn't mean he's going to give you money if you get in a big hole. Like, you're not entitled to his bread. He's not just going to say, hey, here's $4.5 million to get you out of trouble. The fact that they changed the story suggested that the original thing was probably closer to reality. But the issue is that if Shohei did that, that's against the law. That's a violation of federal law to pay off somebody's illegal gambling debt. Then you get in trouble. It's possible that they looked at that and said, I don't want to get in legal trouble over this, so I'm going to have to back up on this story, and you're going to have to take the fall for it. The issue now becomes, that's a pretty big lie to tell, to say he stole the money. Mm-hmm. And if it comes out that that was not the case, and it feels like it's pretty dubious that that story is going to hold up upon further scrutiny, Shohei's in big, big trouble.
Yeah.
And not just in terms of
Baseball.
He did the first thing.
Yeah, he
right?
did the first. He's in big, big trouble, and also just purely on the loss of trust.
Yeah.
Like, this is the most beloved player in baseball.
On the earth.
Yeah, on the earth. Everybody loves Shohei Ohtani. He's an international superstar, and a big part of the reason why we love him isn't just because he mashes dingers and throws awesome pitches. It's also because he seems like the coolest, nicest guy in the world. Mm-hmm. Well, guess what? You just lied on your buddy and followed Chris Carter's advice and said, you got to get you a fall guy. Well, guess what? It just got revealed that he was your fall guy and that you were involved in this somehow. Your career is done at that point. You can't come back from that. So if that's the story they're telling, it better be true. Mm-hmm. Or at least you better hope that your ducks are in a row and it won't come out that it's untrue.
Also, the FBI is looking into this, so, you better hope that you're telling the truth, because
just tell the truth.
Otherwise,
you got problems.
That's
big problems.
Yeah, and just don't involve yourself in this situation, right? Like, to be honest, I'd rather have the FBI after me than the IRS, but I feel like the IRS, when money changes hands, right? Like, IRS needs to know about it or get a cut or something. So
Let's keep me off of both of their lists, please.
Yeah, I don't want either one of them looking into me too much.
well, I don't
think there's one that I'd be more afraid of than the other. I think.
I think I'm more afraid of the IRS, to be honest.
Maybe.
Like, those guys get what they want eventually. You can beat the FBI in court. The IRS getting their money. Like, come on, let's be real. But again, if the story that I had spun about Shohei just being a good buddy but technically doing something against the law, if that was true, I think the better move would have been just to eat it on that one, because you could say, hey, I didn't know that this was against the law. I was looking out for my friend. That ignorance is not an excuse for breaking the law, sure, but when your profile is that of Shohei Ohtani, you can survive that.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
you can't lie about it, too.
Once you lie about it and say, this guy committed a major felony by stealing my money into the tunes of millions of dollars, you are now falsely implicating somebody in something serious to cover up your own transgressions.
Yeah.
That is going to screw you.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm reminded, it's a little analogous, I guess, of Ryan Braun.
I was just about to bring up Ryan Braun.
PEDs.
Yes.
He threw the urine collector under the bus.
Yes. He got away with it, too, until the
or Lance
biogenesis
Armstrong
happened.
throwing everybody under the bus for his steroid use during the Tour de France and his cycling career.
You think the urine collector doesn't have it bad enough already? Like, really? You're just going to ruin that person's life?
Well, Ryan Braun, at least Ryan Braun was technically correct about the chain of custody issues with his sample. He got away with it. Lance Armstrong did everything just to cover it up, and we found out later that it was, all BS.
Yeah.
There's a little bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Just ruin the life of the urine collector.
Well, he's trying to not get suspended. And he did get unsuspended. It worked. And then biogenesis happened and he got suspended again.
So then it unworked.
Yeah, well, that was he got caught. It's like, if I rob a bank and get away with it, I rob another bank and get caught. Well, I still got away with the first one. Mm-hmm. I just was stupid enough to double dip. Once you get caught doing steroids and then they walk it back, stop doing steroids.
Yeah.
Like, just say,
Don't
okay,
do more
no
steroids.
more of this, because then everybody's going to find out not only was I cheating, but I was a liar the first time. Mm-hmm. You can't be lying, Earl. Like, come on.
Or you can't be lying, Earl. I guess we're done. Yeah, so, I mean, do you have any sports topics to add? Did I skip anything else?
I don't think so.
Doesn't sound like it. All right, before we do the outro, any shout-outs from y'all? because I have some.
Yeah, and I saw one of yours, which I would have brought up, but I'll let you do that. So my shout out is just shout out to the NC State Wolfpack. Their men's and women's team are both in the Sweet 16, but particularly the men's team, an 11 seed. I didn't have a lot of faith in them just because I thought they were going to be extremely fatigued after their ACC tournament run. But they came out and they won their first and second round games pretty convincingly, actually. They beat Texas Tech in the first round by 13, and then they beat the number 1 seed in their bracket. I'm sorry, they beat Oakland in the second round by 6 points. Oakland was the 14th seed that beat Kentucky and knocked them out. Congratulations to NC State on backing up their ACC tournament run with a trip to at least the Sweet 16, and we'll see what they can do against Marquette.
Mm-hmm.
They'll play that game on Friday.
Okay.
So I know we're going to talk about with your shout out extensively probably, so I'll save that for then. So shout out to my boy Connor Norby. Who got sent to AAA again.
Mm-hmm.
This is now going to be his 3rd season that he's going to appear for the Norfolk Tides, and he sort of passive-aggressively tweeted about it when he said, year 3 coming up, which, most people would be understandably tired of playing in AAA for a 3rd season when you're clearly good enough to play in the show, but you happen to be in the Baltimore Orioles farm system where it's a little crowded at the top.
Mm-hmm.
And he was letting a little bit of frustration off with that tweet. I appreciated it because he's my guy.
Mm-hmm.
And you know why he's my guy.
Yeah.
Because he liked a tweet of mine.
Mm-hmm.
Because I tweeted about him while we were at a Bezos game that he was playing in, and he hit a double and then advanced to third on air, slid into second, did a little night-night, or slid into third and did a night-night. And I tweeted about it, and he liked my tweet. So shout out Connor Norby, who also hits dingers, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
Dude mashes. He's not very big, and he mashes. So somebody get him to the show.
Yeah.
Regardless, somebody trade for him. Somebody get Connor Norby to the show. He belongs in the show.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna so yesterday morning, I woke up and found out that
First thing that I saw when I woke up too.
Yep, me too.
Yeah. So there was a crash, I guess, at the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. It was hit in one of the piers by a container ship and then collapsed into the water around like 1:30 in the morning on Tuesday.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's a lot of positive shout outs, I guess. So like the police and first responders, obviously, but like the police in the sense that they got a mayday call from the boat saying that the boat had lost power and they needed to, like within minutes, close the bridge because if there are people on the bridge, obviously they're going to be in horrible danger. So when the bridge was struck by the boat, there was no traffic on it.
I don't think that that's entirely true. When I watched the video of the bridge collapsing, I did see a car go into the water from a part of the bridge that was near the second support structure to the right of the one that the ship crashed into. So
Okay.
I believe that there were some vehicles, but certainly fewer than there would have been.
Yeah.
But definitely shout out to the police and the first responders for reacting quickly and preventing this from being a much more catastrophic situation than it already is.
I did read today that there were 8 construction workers on the bridge at the time.
Yeah, they're working on concrete.
Yeah, and 2 of them were rescued. The other 6, as of me writing this a couple hours ago, are missing and presumed dead. So, our condolences to their families.
Yeah.
Let's see. Shout out to the governor of the state of Maryland, Wes Moore, and the mayor of Baltimore, Brandon Scott, for being woken up out of their beds in the middle of the night to hear about and go deal with this horrible news. I mean, this isn't obviously directly either their faults, but you have to as a mayor or governor, you have to, deal with something like this. Let's see. Do y'all have anything to add on all the negative stuff? Or the sadder things before I get into blasting?
Yeah, I'll leave that part to you, but I would like to give a negative shout out to social media, not in terms of the people on social media, but the social media sites themselves. So yesterday, Facebook sort of became, for me, what Twitter became shortly after Elon Musk acquired it, where all of a sudden I am seeing a lot of things from people that I don't follow at all being pushed onto my timeline. That was a pretty new thing for me on Twitter shortly after Elon Musk gained control of it. Yesterday, I saw a lot of posts on Facebook from accounts that I do not follow. Some of them, which you guys may have seen if you spent any time on Facebook in the last 24 hours, were from they were posted 3 days earlier but had not shown up on my timeline until yesterday after this accident, were from a few different service pages that were talking about the fact that 3 days before this was the anniversary. I think it was like the 23rd or 22nd anniversary of the Francis Scott Key Bridge being completed.
The 47th anniversary.
Or 47th
Yeah,
anniversary. I couldn't remember the number.
So.
I couldn't remember the number. But in any case, it was the anniversary just a few days ago. I saw no less than 6 different posts pushed onto my feed from accounts that I do not follow, that as far as I could tell had not been liked by people that I follow, that were posts of the Francis Scott Key Bridge at either sunrise or sunset with the Domino Sugar Factory in the foreground. Clearly it being it fell like a domino. Which I found very disturbing, that not only were people posting that, but also that the Facebook algorithms were pushing multiple copies of these posts from different people, from different accounts, onto my page. Mark Zuckerberg needs to do better. Facebook needs to do better, because that's not acceptable. That's not funny. That's not like I did not have words for that last night. I don't have words for it now. How disgusting that is.
I didn't know that was happening.
Yeah, I didn't see anything. I definitely saw the stuff that was happening on Twitter.
Yes, I saw that stuff, and like I said, I'm going to let Evan kind of start on that, and then if there's anything that we have to add, we can do that.
I'll come in. Yeah, that's fine.
But Evan is the civil engineer, so I'll let him start there.
Let's see. Negative shout out to all the fools on the internet, of which there are many. So the first group of fools were, of course, the racist people on Twitter. It seems like there's extra racists on Twitter.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Well, that is a part. That is a part
That's
of.
like
I think it was there before, but it was not being pushed into everybody's feeds the way that it has been over the past year and a few months.
I don't follow these people. I've never heard of you, and all of a sudden, like, there's
and it's not saying liked by somebody I followed or retweeted by somebody I followed.
It's just here
for no reason.
Yeah. So there was people saying a bunch of racist stuff about the governor and the mayor, who are both black men, as if they had something to do with this happening, or because they're black, like this is why the bridge fell down. Like what are you talking about right now? Or criticizing. I did see some criticism about how Mayor Scott was dressed yesterday, like he should have been dressed up nicer. Like, how would you be
Dude
dressed?
probably rolled out of bed and rushed there. Like, what do you want him to like take his time responding to this and put on a full ensemble and delay his arrival to the scene? Are you kidding me?
Yeah. Like, what? How would you be dressed if you were woken up at 2 a.m. and say you have to go now?
Honestly, if he was dressed in something other than like a hoodie or a sweatshirt, I'd probably be like, dude, like, why did you wait? Like, why did you take the time before coming out here? Like,
it's not a photo op.
No,
It's an emergency response. Like, come on.
And he had to field some obnoxious questions from people. So just if people out there, just please act like you have some sense. I know it's hard for some people, but just don't say any racist stuff, right? Just don't
calling
do it.
him a DEI mayor.
Yeah, he was elected the mayor.
Yes, even if there was an issue with DEI, like this has nothing to do with DEI.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, we know what it has to do with. It's
Yes.
it's just
It's not even thinly veiled racism.
it's just
It's
racism.
blatant racism. Yeah. So
It's the attempt at thinly veiled racism that is not successful because it
No.
is blatant.
yeah, very, very blatant. And posted on the internet for everybody to see forever. And then the other group of people that got me a little irritated, Eric, you quote tweeted and called somebody out on this, was somebody started off with saying, I'm not a civil engineer, but I'm like, well, if you're not a civil engineer, then shut up.
Everything after the but is irrelevant now.
Yeah.
Like, what do we care what you have to
The
say?
word but does that, you know?
How about, like, I've spoken to civil engineers who have told me. I might take that seriously, but I'm not a civil engineer, but this is what I think. Well, I don't care what you think because you don't know what you're talking about.
No, you don't. Like, but I'm not a civil engineer, but, like, well, then stop.
Well, then ask a civil engineer
Yeah.
why this happened.
How about I'm not a civil engineer, so I'm going to keep my opinions to myself and let the experts weigh in on
Corey,
this.
this is social media. Everybody thinks they have to tweet about everything all the time,
And they're an expert because
not only
they have a
not only
phone.
is everything that happens you need to tweet about. Every tweet that somebody else has to be catered to you as well. That's how social media works. Like it's pretty hilarious and also terrible.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, you know, don't do that. So, anyway, I think that's all I have to say on that.
Okay.
That's all I have as well. Yeah.
And, you know, I guess...
And one more time, just condolences to the families of the of anybody who is still missing. Who, you know, I mean, this is obviously 1:30 in the morning is not as much traffic on that bridge as like during the daytime, but like I know people who have told me like they've used that bridge when they're coming home from live casino or whatever it's called, but like and they could be coming back around that time, you know. So it's like there are people out there who could be missing, who their families don't know if they might have been on that bridge or not. And so there's also those families that I think deserve to just be in our thoughts right now.
Yeah, certainly. All right. And then, I mean, I know the other thing I wrote down on a completely different note altogether, something I'm excited about, is Hershey Park opens this week.
Woo.
So I will be riding up there, and should be a fun time. Yeah. So yeah, I think that is it. So we did our shout outs already. So yeah, we are done for this week. A relatively short episode for us, under 2 hours, which is, you know, saying something.
Yeah.
So if you made it this far into this podcast, go ahead and smash that subscribe button, so you will be notified when we post a new episode. You can listen to this podcast where you're listening to right now. In addition, it's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, and Amazon Podcasts. I was listening to some podcast somewhere, and they were talking about how, I think it was Google Podcasts is going away. Like it's being dissolved into Spotify or something like that. So, you know, if our show isn't on your podcatcher of choice, please reach out to us and let us know. Send us an email, thesportsballers@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter @sportsballers18. Follow us individually on Twitter. Corey is @Corey Puffett. Eric is @Quagmire67. And I am @Evan_Ash13. You should like our Facebook page. You should like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube as well. And with that, unless I'm missing something, any Woj bombs or anything like that? No. Alrighty. Well, that is it for this week. Thank you all so much for listening. For Corey and Eric, I'm Evan. This has been the Sports Ballers Podcast, and we will talk to you next week.